presenters often say, yeah, that was a great story, but what do you have for tomorrow? What do you have coming up?
Well, you know, I learned not to step on my press conferences. So you'll have to wait for tomorrow. We'll have a very robust agenda. In fact, Tim Keene, we just had a cabinet meeting yesterday, and we told the cabinet budget, what do you call that, Tim?
Guidance.
Budget guidance will be coming out here within the next 2 or 3 weeks. Look, I wouldn't expect this year to see, we're working a lot on workforce development. There's a lot more we can do inside the government. We'll have a lot of announcements about some exciting statewide initiatives, but you got to look forward to the next budget. And we have a number of things that are, I call them twin towers, and you'll find out more about that. But we will have a lot more to do. But this workforce development is a huge deal. We've started that down in Cincinnati. It's going to go to Dayton and to Stark County. We want to take it statewide, and I believe it's a transformation of our education system and a transformation of our workforce. I mentioned that we're going to give kids a little look starting in the first grade at what their careers might be. We want to emphasize more vocational education, technical schools. We want more real-world experience out of our K through 12 academic experience, with guidance counselors playing a larger role. But we want the community colleges to be the first responders to the needs of business. I can tell you, and we want our four-year schools to raise their graduation rate and to orient their curriculum towards opportunity. But one of the calls I made today, I guess I can say, can I?
Sure.
I don't know. No? Okay, people are saying. You're saying sure, Jay's shaking his head no. I better leave it out. But with the company that I talked to today, they're not headquartered in Ohio. We talked a lot about the political stability that we have in the state now, and the efforts to, this is in the insurance area without naming the companies. We now are going to have curriculum at Ohio State, Kent State, the University of Cincinnati, and several of the little community colleges to start promoting the fact that we're big in insurance in Ohio, and that if you're a math whiz or if you're good at computer processing, you have an opportunity. The more we can integrate academics with the job creators, the stronger our education system will be, the better our workforce will be. But it's a long road, Laura. It's a long road, but it's coming to Dayton. That's going to be the next spot where we're going to go and work to get business and academia and the governments all together, coupled with Michael Colbert's work over at Jobs and Family Services with the one-stops. We'll be announcing very soon our voucher program for training incumbent workers. We're trying to rationalize this crazy hodgepodge of job training programs that are scattered throughout the government. There is so much to do, and we'll have a lot of those things, but you got to look for the budget for the next big, you ain't seen nothing yet. Yes?
Governor, you said that Ohio is not a casino state. Would you like to draw the line right now where we are right now?
Well, we said 10 years. That's what we said. You get the 4 casinos. Those came in through that initiative, and then we were able to do the VLTs at the racetracks. And I've had a couple legislators call me up and say, hey, I'd like to have VLTs in my town. And I said, well, no. And then they say, well, thank you for answering me directly. You know who one of them was, Bill. I sure do. But I think it's reasonable. We don't want to explode this. Now, look, there's a lot of challenges out there with these card game I don't understand much about this whole business. But the card playing in the card rooms and all this other stuff, I mean, that's an issue. But by and large, we have stopped an explosion of gaming statewide, and I think it fits the value system of Ohioans. I mean, they wanted to have gaming, because some of them enjoy it, but the other part of it is people didn't want all the revenue flowing out of this state going to Michigan and Indiana and Pennsylvania and West Virginia. So I think it's a good balance, and I feel really good about what the Casino Commission is doing. Joanne Davidson's done a great job. The casino operators themselves have been very responsive to the issue, for example, of human trafficking, of the need to take care of people who get addicted to gaming. I think it's in a good direction right now. Yes, sir.
Governor, you did not get what you wanted with regard to the severance the severance tax. Could you talk about your disappointment there and where that might get?
Well, I don't have a lot of disappointment there. It's going to happen, just a matter of when and what it's going to look like. And I've had a number of offline conversations with industry. They understand this has to happen. You know, the speaker and the president have said, look, you know, we've got to really take a good hard look at this. I think with the Ernst & Young report, which still puts us at the bottom of the heap in terms of tax policy, I think is good. And sometimes you have to give them space. I mean, I do push hard, but you know, once in a while they'll call me up and say, hey, could you just give us some time on this? And they deserve that. And so I've asked Tom Niehaus if he's willing to get on this, start considering this next week. He said Wayne Struble gave him 2 weeks off. So, but, you know, the other side of this, that as time goes on, I think legislators will get this. And Tom mentioned it. You know, the ability to have a tax cut for every Ohioan and help small businesses and keep money in our communities rather than having it all leave the state is really such a compelling argument. And we have been very careful not to propose a tax that would be counter to job creation. And they just have to take a time. You know, 3,500-page bill with this whole proposal, I'm confident we'll get there. And frankly, I really don't have any disappointments in terms of how this legislative session went. In fact, not only do I not have any disappointments, I don't know how many times I called these guys just to say thank you. Yeah. And you know, and yesterday in the House, I spoke to the caucus over there, and you know, Batch had to pick up for me because it's emotional, the kind of things that have happened. And when I say that, look, I mean, jobs are being created, and that's the most powerful thing and important thing to remember because it helps families and helps children. But Batch touched on it. Think about these people who've been locked up in prison for 25 years. We didn't have a rational program. People can get their lives back. This human trafficking, you think about these little girls that are being picked up and beaten and prostituted and drugged. You think about a third-grade reading guarantee or the Cleveland plan. This is people. This is about people. It's a lot about children. It's a lot about their ability to recognize their God-given purpose. And, you know, yesterday Tom allowed me to speak on the floor of the Ohio Senate. I mean, that was like one of the great moments for me to be able to go back there. So I'm not disappointed, I'm exhilarated about what was accomplished. And you know, I was telling my staff and Matt Carl and his team and Beth and everybody up there, public will never quite get it. You see it. It's amazing. I mean, to put the politics in last place and put the public in the first place, it's astounding. And you know, and with the Democrats, look, the reason why we're getting bipartisan support is because of the power of the ideas. And we talk to them more. I was just at an event for Sean O'Brien over in Youngstown, or up in his district not long ago. You know, the kind of things that Nina Turner and Shirley Smith have said about the Cleveland plan, and the things about what they've said about the collateral sanctions. And Tom Niehaus, you know, that drug testing bill was rushing its way through the Senate. And Tom heard the fact that there were people who felt they were being targeted. The bill got pulled. Now, it's not going to be dead, but we need to get all the parties involved to figure out how we can get people on welfare off drugs and get them jobs so they're not taking the drug money and putting it up their nose and denying stuff for their kids. But it's not a targeting plan. Look what Gary did with collateral sanctions. I mean, we had the left and the right in a room. They all bought in. They were all part of it. That's how you get the bipartisanship. That doesn't mean you got a bill and I got to be for it. It means that we kind of work together and lower the rhetoric and stop the name-calling and the insults and the insinuations. We are making progress there. It's pretty cool, particularly when you don't see it at all in Washington.
So how do you balance all that with campaigning in the presidential campaign coming up?
Well, look, you're going to have differences on who should be president. You're going to have differences on budgets. You're going to have differences on tax policy. But we certainly could agree with an energy policy. We certainly could agree with, we're going to see bipartisan support, I think, on some sort of a severance tax. human trafficking. I mean, Tom gave you the numbers. So we can agree to disagree. I mean, some of my great friends in Washington, I didn't agree with them 90% of the time. But you know, we liked each other. And so you look for the areas where you can reach agreement, and then you do it. And the best example of this in my entire political career was when Bono, the new billionaire, when Bono and I went to see Jesse Helms. And Jesse Helms goes to a press conference with Teddy Kennedy. I don't think they agreed on 1 out of 1,000 things, but they agreed on the fact that people in Africa needed to be helped. And as a result, in Bono's efforts, probably millions of lives have been saved. So that's the way you do it. And I'm going to campaign aggressively for Mitt Romney, but you know what? I personally like Barack Obama. I don't agree with his policies, but I'm going to be out. Well, I've already been out there. You're tired of seeing me. Yes.